have another call. This is a 516 area code. 516, are you there?
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hi. How are you?
Yes, we
please
can.
state your name and where
How
you're
are
from.
you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say that I was in a relationship 2 years into the relationship, and I don't remember what was happening, but the man that I was going out with, he was the manliest of men, so crying was just like the last thing you would expect. But something happened, and he got emotional, and he cried, and I can't even tell you what that did to me. My heart. It just changed, took our relationship to a whole different level to share on that level. And I can't. I just want to say the women that put their noses up at men that will reveal that part of themselves, they are so missing out on what their relationship could be, that whole different level of love and everything else. So I just wanted to say that. I'm surprised to hear that so many women would have that attitude, oh, suck it up and don't cry or be turned off by that. It's just, that's mind-blowing to me because, you don't want to cry, baby, but...
Right. Well, I assume that increased the intimacy between the two of you.
Absolutely. Not just that night. Because to share on that level, like, especially with somebody that's like truly a tough guy, that type of thing.
Right.
And
right.
yeah, so I think it did something for him too to see that I was receptive, or that I wasn't looking down on him, or that he could expose himself on that level. It's just, I cannot believe that there are women that would just, have that attitude, or be turned off by that.
So how did you see it? How did you see him once he did that?
Especially a man that's tough and always got his guard up and, never really, you just don't see that level or depth of emotion on a regular basis. So that was mind-blowing to me. I didn't even believe what I was seeing at the time. But,
wow.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. And I is that like the first time you've seen that with a guy in a relationship?
Yeah, kind of. Well, yeah, the first time. I've experienced that since then. That was a while ago. But yeah, that was the first time, and it was particularly memorable for this particular person because, there's these, manly men that just, he was that.
Let me ask you another question. I want to ask you a question that...
Go ahead, Jack.
Blair, I want to ask her a question that kind of leads into that. So, there's, like you said, he was this manly man, and not every guy feels like he has to be a manly man, except there's some level of manliness that most men believe they have to live up to. And then there's this, I'll call it a myth, that and some of our really good fathers do their daughters a disservice by saying all boys, all men, all they want is sex. And so when you get a guy, and whether he's a manly man or he's not being emotional, it seems like it's easy for a woman to see a guy as he doesn't see sex and emotion, that he just physically wants sex and that's all he wants. Did you grow up thinking that that's all guys want is sex from women?
My father kind of ingrained that in me early, that that's the first thing that comes to mind in a man's head. I mean, you can get to know him on a different level, but right off the bat, it's all about that. So yeah,
okay.
As I was growing up, yeah.
And that kind of has you put your guard up with a guy, right?
Oh, absolutely. But it made me more careful. It made me careful. I don't regret that. I don't regret that.
Right.
That's what he instilled in me.
What do you think men want more than sex?
What do I think men want more than sex?
No. Do you think men want more than sex in a relationship?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I think real men do. I think there are still a lot of men that are out there to just get what they're trying to get, you know. But I think most of the men that I know, that I interact with, definitely want something more.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me, can I interject real quick?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually had a couple questions. First of all, I don't think we got your name. What's your first name, please?
Lynette.
Lynette. Okay, Lynette. Lynette, let me ask you this, and if you don't want to answer it, I totally understand. You mentioned that you and the guy were together for 2 years. Is that correct?
It was 2 years in when this situation happened.
2 years in. My apologies.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
I'm taking it you are not still with that gentleman. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Let me ask you this. This is kind of, what is it that do you think that women actually understand men? You know, there seems to be kind of there seems to be kind of what we call the gender wars going on, where, you know, men are on one side, women are on another, and, you know, women are like, men don't listen, they don't get us, and then women, you know, men are saying, you know, these women, they don't know what they want. I have my own theory, and I'll share that with you, but I'd like to kind of get your feeling. What do you think women really? Do you think women really kind of understand and get men?
No.
Okay.
In general,
okay.
No.
In general, okay. All right. What do you think, Ted? What's your thoughts?
Well, that's you and I. Our questions are sort of really coming together, because if a woman thinks that all a man wants is sex, then she's really going to miss. She's going to miss out on a couple of things. One, she's going to miss out on really getting to know the guy. And two, she's going to miss out on sharing the kind of intimacy that you were talking about, Lynette, that comes way before sex.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so then the woman really doesn't get to fully experience herself in a relationship, because she may be a little guarded, or she may be holding sex as almost a carrot over the guy's head in the relationship. And now so now the terms and conditions of the relationship has changed, because everyone's working to have the upper hand, and then that creates resentment, and it's all because of not a clear understanding from the beginning.
I personally think that women allow sex to come into the relationship way too soon. To me, that's my opinion.
I would agree with you 100% on that. I think that, you know, here's the thing. Men are going to pressure you for sex. That's a given. You know, if a guy goes out on a date with you, now he should not be aggressive with it, but he's going, you know, he's doing it because that's what men typically do. It's part of a conditioning and kind of something that's been inoculated into his mind, but it's basically what men do. Now, in saying that, you know, if he's like, you know, like I was talking to a young lady and she had mentioned something, she went on a date and a guy mentioned something, he went to the restroom, and we came back from the bathroom and he had said something, you know, about how nice her breast was. This was first date. And she, you know, she was like, you know, he came and sat back down, and all of a sudden he said, you know, wow, you have nice breasts. And she said she was just, you know, the rest of the date was just shot. She was like, I was so offended. I said, well, you know, I'm not saying that that's a proper compliment to give. It's not. But, you know, if that's the only thing, if that's the worst thing, you know, then let it fly. And if he keeps going in that lane, then yes, like, you know what, he's pushing this whole sex thing a little bit too much. But if he makes
that would be the end of that. That would be the end of that. If you come off like that in the first thing,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If that's the end of it,
a lot of times women will make excuses for men, how they act and what they say, and say, "Oh, he didn't mean it." Yeah, that's what it sounded like you were doing. No. When you reveal yourself that early in the game, thank you, appreciate that. You know,
right. But I agree with you on that. Women do give up sex too early. In my opinion, I think it's because they really realize that they don't actually have any other cards to play other than that. They don't.
Women have given up their power. Women used to have power. Women used to have.
Absolutely.
I don't mean it in a bad way, but they used to have power. You know, my father used to teach me that. But women have, these young girls, they get all of that's done now.
Right.
You know,
They don't believe that.
Yeah.
They don't believe that if I remain chaste and I remain celibate or abstinent or whatever, if I do that, this man will still want to be with me. But you have to be that great of a woman so that a man will be willing to do that. And this is where I think a lot of people kind of, a lot of women kind of, like you said, they lose their power because they say, well, if I don't give it to him, he going to get it somewhere else. Well, let that fool go on. Let him go and get sex wherever he wants to. You stay up in there and you remain wholesome and traditional and everything else. It shouldn't be a bargain. If you're saying I don't want to do that first date, second date, or until marriage, then let that be that. But again, like I said, you also have to find, because there are men who will wait until marriage. That's something that a lot of women have. They think that's a myth. There are plenty.
Oh, I know
men.
that. I know that for a fact. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Are all men going to do that? Absolutely not. But there are enough men out there who would be willing to wait until marriage. But what that also means is you have to be quality enough. And quality isn't decided by the woman. Quality is decided by the man. You have to be quality enough for him to say, I'm willing to kick back and wait. I'm willing to kick back and wait. Now on the honeymoon, I'm gonna do that thing. But no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you have to be willing to say, I'm gonna just do what I need to do. And if he decides he wants to either be with some other woman, or if he decides he wants to, push the narrative that we're gonna have sex early, then maybe he's not the one for me. And you gotta be willing to let him walk. You got to.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that if a man is willing to wait like that, that also would, because sometimes a man will not want to be married or not want to have a long-term relationship because why? He's getting everything he wants. Do you think that would also encourage, would mean that the relationship would progress to something more permanent if both, you know what I'm saying, because there's no sex until then?
Well, wait. Just let me say another perspective. I think that's what I was getting at. Once a woman believes the only thing a guy wants is sex, then that becomes the bargaining tool. Whether she has it too soon or too late is irrelevant. My biggest concern is what Blair said. First, you have to be a quality woman. And it's not because your parent says you're a good woman. You've got to be a quality woman to that guy. And too often women believe, well, all I have to do is offer sex, and I have a college degree, and that makes me quality, and it really isn't.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not what would be a quality woman. So when you say if he's getting everything he wants from other women, maybe the reason he's going to so many women is because he's never getting what he wants.
No, I was talking about in a relationship where there's no sex, and you both have agreed to that. My question was, do you think that if it works out, that more likely that relationship will progress to something more permanent, whether it be marriage or just, something more permanent, because now maybe both parties are motivated, all things being great, all other things being great.
Well, see, we make the relationship about sex, the way men and women come together. Just by the very fact of withholding it, you've now made the relationship about sex, as opposed to two human beings coming together who will enrich one another's life. Right? That's, for me as a man, if I'm not getting that you're going to enrich my life, sex is irrelevant.
Right. So why not leave sex out of it, or put it on the back burner and see if everything else fits?
Most people don't do that. For me as a guy, if I take a woman out, and I know I'm not the only guy who's had this experience, if you don't show sexual interest in a woman, some women become confused and will just say, well, you're just a friend. So it becomes tricky for a guy. I've got to show some interest sexually.
You can show sexual interest
soon.
without actually having sex. Okay.
I get that. I do get that. But if I do it purely as I want to know you, I'm not even going to pursue you sexually. I want to know if you're if you're worth my investment of time. And then as a man, it's my money also, because I'm expected to finance the dating aspect.
Okay.
So
that's
I really want to know. I really want to know, are you going to be worth my time? And if we have a philosophy that women are the prize, and prizes don't make relationships. If I want a car, even if it's a Bugatti, if I want a Bugatti as a prize, that Bugatti gets parked in my garage until I stick a key in it and it does what I want it to do. So a woman thinking that she's a prize could have her like a car sitting in a garage that's doing nothing for my life. You have to engage me and show me, one, that you have interest, and show me that you have something to offer in my life.
That goes without saying. Exactly. I agree.
But that's missing a lot of times, because
I agree with that too.
it's that if you want the sex from me, you have to chase me. No, it's not the sex I'm chasing. It's you. I want to know who you are. So you've got to engage.
Ted, let me say two things. Let me say a couple things, because number one, we're kind of coming to the end of the show, so we'll be kind of segueing down or whatever. But say a couple things. Number one of the problems that we've had over the years, over the decades, is that women have always put out there the notion that they are the prize. No, we're both a prize. We are both a prize. I'm not here to say it's equal, who gets more of a prize. That's not even what it's about. That's part of the problem that we have. We kind of push this narrative that men are just, he's whatever. He just show up at the wedding with his tux and we'll see what we can do. We are both a prize. I'm going to tell you something that I do. I go and speak to a number of different women in different groups and everything. And I spoke to a group of women recently, and I said, what's the most 3 important things to a man? 3 important things. I'm talking about long term, not just a guy you just met at the club, kick it with, and whatever. What's the first 3 important things to a man? Not one. The person sex and chemistry. No, I said that's not even close. Your education ain't even in the top 10. I've never heard a man talk about education, first of all. But they said sex and cooking, and I said no. Those aren't the first 3 things that are important to a man. I'll give the other 2 another time. But the most important thing to a man is respect. If you don't give that man respect, you might as well just go find another man. Why bother? He has to have his respect first. First. Respect, not sex. Because you can get sex anywhere. You can get, as my friend says, you can get sex before I can get, a sandwich from a woman. So sex is easy to get. Respect is the most important, crucial element of a relationship for a man. Respect. It's amazing how many women don't know that simple thing. Respect is the most important. It's not sex, not cooking. Those are important things, no question, but they're not the most critical things. So, I just wanted to throw that in.
Let me ask you something. If you ask that same question to most men, would they say that honestly? Because I don't think they would.
Absolutely they will. Absolutely they will. Mm-hmm. Absolutely they will. Because if you say, if you just ask a bunch of guys, random guys, what's the most important thing? But if you quantify it and say, what's the most critically important thing in a relationship to a man? Respect. I gotta have respect. I gotta have my peace. I gotta have my peace in this household. Why? Because if I can't come home and get peace with you, I'm not coming directly home. I'm gonna make an excuse for why I'm coming home. Am I right, Ted?
Absolutely.
Your respect is more important, bar none. Your respect is the most. Guys are just wired that way. We have to have respect. Respect to us is more important than love, Lynette. That's what women don't get. I would much rather be respected than loved. Period.
And you want to see that from the beginning. You want to see that early on. Not because I put a ring on your finger.
What form does that respect come in? What does that look like? I know you got to go, but I'm just curious.
So we gotta kind of wind it down like the next 3 minutes. But I'll say this, we can kind of get to the next show. But respect comes on a number of different.
This is great.
What's that?
I said this was great. I'll tune in next week. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Lynette.
I'll just share with you real quick. Respect comes in a number of different forms. It basically is in the way that you speak with your man. You know, it means that, you know, even if we have problems, even if we have issues, it could be anything. The lights could be off in our home. I still need you to show me respect. Get your face together. Get all your little words to the side. We're not gonna have that whole energy that a lot of people like to have when things are going wrong. So respect is easy when everything is fine and your bills are paid and you got extra money in the bank. Can you respect me when I came home and say, baby, I lost my job today? Can you respect me when I say, you know, something, the car got repoed today? Can you respect me in those instances? Yes, those are extremes. It's easy to respect someone when everything is going smoothly. Can you respect me when I haven't brought you flowers in 3 or 4 months? Can you do that? Can you respect me?
You realize that men sometimes do things to lose that respect. Just try to say.
Well, absolutely. But if you are a quality woman, your respect. I mean, if he's doing something like beating you or doing something that's causing you bodily harm, yeah, get the hell out of Dodge. But I'm talking about things that you may not necessarily have any control over. If he's been out of work for, let's say, 3 months, and he's like, I'm out here trying to grind, and let's say the bills are getting behind, and stuff's getting heavy, and, you know, whatever, can you still show me that respect? Because as a black man, we're out here trying. If you see he's trying out here, and he's like, now, if you come home and, you know, he's sitting there and he's watching, you know, Sports Center and got his legs kicked up, let that Negro have it. Let that Negro have it. But if you realize that, you know, like, you know, wow, he went and put in, you know, 5 applications just today alone, and yesterday he put in up. If you see that he's really trying, show him that love and keep kind of a peace with the home. Because again, if I can't get peace with you, I got to get my peace. I got to.
Right.
So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna find somebody else that. I'm gonna find somebody else that kind of, you know, puts their arm around my shoulder and give me a hot meal, right? You don't want that.
Hey,
so give me my peace,
Blair and
regardless.
Blair and go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was done.
Okay, so Blair and Lynette, there's a guy named Thomas Stanley. He wrote a number of books, and in one of his books is called The Millionaire Mind. And one of the things he did was a lot of research into millionaires, and he found that millionaires have a significantly lower divorce rate compared to the general population. And most people believe it's because of the money, and what he found, it had nothing to do with the money. It was what they had in common. Like, they had so many values and ways of thinking. Their mindset was so similar that even when they lost everything and they were sleeping in the car, that wife still had respect and still stood for her guy and stood by him. That he gave examples of, you know, one guy that stood out in my head was he had a great job. Honey, I want to start a business. He goes out and he says, hey, if it doesn't work, you understand we're both going to have to find a job. And she wasn't working while he had this great job. She said, I support you. He goes out, the business fails. Honey, we have to both get a job. They get jobs. He comes back, hey, I want to start a business again. And you understand what happened the last time. She said, I understand, I support you. He starts the business, it fails. So he goes through that process, I think, 3 times, and it was the 4th one that stuck, and they became multimillionaires. But the guy talked about how supportive his wife was through some turbulent times and lights being out and just really unfortunate circumstances, but she was just solidly there without berating him and saying, look what you did to us, and you should have never quit your job. You know, he took the risk, and it finally stuck.
Wow.
That's a beautiful story.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Great story. Well, we have actually come to the end of the show, so Lynette, I thank you for calling in. I appreciate it to the callers who couldn't get through. I don't know what happened, but, you know, hopefully we'll get you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ted and Blair Straight Talk Show. see us back here again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And have a great week, everyone. Love you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Take care.